Welcome aboard to Avis Hub. In today's video, we're taking a deep dive into a topic that concerns millions of travelers every year: the dark side of budget airlines. When you see an ultra-low ticket price pop up online, it's tempting to hit the Book Now button without a second thought. But what's the true cost of those cheap flights? In this video, we'll take you through the hidden truths behind budget airlines, the surprising fees, the overcrowded flights, the questionable safety practices, and more. Are budget airlines really worth it? Or do they come with some serious compromises? Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Avis Hub, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more in-depth aviation content like this one. Let's get into it. The rise of budget airlines. To understand the dark side of budget airlines, we need to first understand how they came to be so popular. The rise of budget carriers started in the 1990s, and it revolutionized the way people thought about flying. Airlines like Ryanair, EasyJet, Southwest in the US were the pioneers of this low-cost model, offering fares at a fraction of the cost of traditional full-service carriers. Initially, it seemed like a dream-come-true affordable air travel for everyone. These airlines offered no-frills services, meaning fewer perks and amenities, but low ticket prices. Passengers could buy a cheap flight, but they had to sacrifice luxuries like meals, entertainment, and extra baggage. But for many people, this was a small price to pay for the convenience of flying on a budget. However, with the growth of budget airlines, something started to shift. While budget carriers made flying accessible to the masses, they also brought with them a number of less than ideal practices that weren't always immediately obvious when booking that low-cost ticket. The hidden fees that add up. One of the most talked about issues with budget airlines is the mountain of hidden fees that often get tacked on after you book your flight. While budget carriers advertise rock-bottom ticket prices, many passengers quickly find that the total cost of their flight ends up being far higher than what they initially expected. Here's how it works. You book your flight for $29, but suddenly you're hit with an array of fees: baggage fees, seat selection fees, priority boarding fees, and even fees for printing your boarding pass at the airport. And don't forget the fuel surcharges and airport taxes, which often seem like they come out of nowhere. By the time you add everything up, that $29 ticket could end up costing you 3 times as much, and that's before you even step foot on the plane. In fact, research has shown that hidden fees make up a significant portion of budget airlines' revenue. And passengers often don't realize how much they're actually paying until they get to the checkout. And it's not just about the ticket. Baggage fees can be particularly painful. What's meant to be a free carry-on often turns into a hefty charge at the gate if your bag exceeds the airline's specific size limits. And then there's the oversized baggage fee, which can cost you even more. In some cases, the total baggage cost might end up being close to or even more than the cost of your flight itself. But it's not just baggage. Seat selection fees are another sneaky way budget airlines squeeze more money from passengers. Want to sit next to your travel companion? That's going to cost extra. Need a bit of legroom for comfort on a long-haul flight? That'll cost you, too. It's no wonder that many travelers feel like they've been baited and switched when they see how much their budget flight really ends up costing. Cramped cabins and lack of comfort. Let's talk about comfort, or more specifically, the lack of it. For many budget airlines, the goal is to pack as many passengers as possible onto each flight in order to maximize profits. That means smaller seats, less legroom, and narrower aisles. For travelers who have never flown with a budget carrier before, the overcrowded cabins can come as a major shock. Instead of spacious cabins, you're left squeezed between 2 strangers with barely any room to move your legs. Many budget carriers cram in more seats than the aircraft was originally designed to hold, which means longer boarding times and less personal space. And let's not forget that seat recline feature. On many budget airlines, seats don't recline, a major inconvenience on long flights. This can turn an already cramped experience into a seriously uncomfortable one, especially if you're stuck in the middle seat for several hours. Then there's the issue of in-flight amenities. While full-service carriers offer meals, beverages, and entertainment, budget airlines generally provide none of that. You'll need to pay extra for anything from a bottle of water to a bag of peanuts. In fact, on many budget flights, food and drink are completely out of the question unless you're willing to fork over extra money. And that's not even considering the lack of in-flight entertainment. Forget watching the latest blockbuster on a long-haul flight schedule. Be lucky if there's a magazine to browse through. The safety concerns. Now, let's address one of the biggest concerns when it comes to budget airline safety. While budget carriers are subject to the same safety regulations as full-service airlines, there have been growing concerns about how the cost-cutting measures on low-cost carriers may affect passenger safety. Budget airlines are notorious for their quick turnaround times, meaning that their planes are often on the ground for shorter periods before being sent off to their next destination. This can lead to rushed maintenance and understaffed maintenance crews who may have limited time to thoroughly inspect the aircraft. Some budget carriers also operate older aircraft, which require more frequent repairs and maintenance. And while the safety standards of these older planes are still up to code, their age can sometimes lead to more mechanical issues that might get overlooked in the rush to turn the plane around for the next flight. While the overall safety record of budget airlines is still impressive, there have been incidents in the past where mechanical failures or lack of maintenance led to problems. Cutting corners in areas like maintenance, staffing, and safety measures to save money can increase the risks. Customer service and the no refund policy. Another major downside of budget airlines is their customer service, or lack thereof. Missed connections, flight cancellations, or lost baggage are already stressful situations for any traveler. But if you find yourself facing one of these problems on a budget airline, you may be in for a frustrating ordeal. One of the biggest complaints about budget carriers is their lack of customer support. Many travelers have shared their horror stories about long phone hold times, unhelpful representatives, and the feeling of being completely abandoned by the airline when things go wrong. Some budget airlines have a no refund policy, meaning that if you miss a flight or need to cancel, you're out of luck. Instead of a refund, you may be offered a credit, but only under specific conditions, or worse. You may simply get no assistance at all. And if your luggage gets lost, good luck trying to get it back. Many budget airlines have been criticized for poor baggage handling and lack of communication when it comes to lost or delayed bags. Environmental impact. The cost of cheap travel. Let's not forget the environmental impact of budget airlines. Though they make air travel more affordable, budget carriers tend to use older, less fuel-efficient planes, which can have a larger environmental footprint. Full-service airlines typically invest in newer, more eco-friendly aircraft, but budget airlines often cut costs by using older, fuel-guzzling planes that are less environmentally friendly. When you combine this with their tendency to operate flights at full capacity, it means budget airlines have a larger carbon footprint per passenger than premium carriers. With the rise of eco-conscious travelers, many people are reconsidering whether the low cost of a budget flight is worth the environmental cost it brings. The bottom line, while budget airlines offer affordable travel options, they come with significant compromises. From hidden fees to uncomfortable cabins and questionable customer service, budget airlines may not be the perfect solution for everyone. Before booking your next cheap flight, be sure to consider the full cost of your trip, both in terms of monetary cost and personal comfort. Remember, sometimes cheaper isn't always better. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the world of aviation, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Avis Hub for more.